You know, America, as you know, I was born in Philadelphia. I was raised in and around Philadelphia. Not till I became a young man did I leave for other parts of the country. I went to Temple University and went to Temple Law School, Philadelphia. And my friend Byron Donalds went to Philadelphia the other day, and he now knows how lousy and rotten the Philadelphia Inquirer is. And they create this whisper down the lane, and now anytime you have a conservative who is black, a conservative who is Hispanic, a conservative who is Jewish, they have to be character assassinated. And now it's Byron Donalds' turn, because Byron Donalds is a superstar. Byron Donalds may, in fact, run for a higher office. I don't know. I'm not going to put him on the spot. That's not the point of this interview. Byron Donalds, what do you want to say to the Philadelphia Inquirer and Politico? The idea that you would support segregation and so forth when you're trying to explain the black family, things that Thomas Sowell has explained, things that so many other economists have explained about what's happened to the black family since the onset of this massive socialist economic system. What do you want to say to them?
Well, what I want to say to the media and even to the Democrats at the Biden campaign is, don't twist my words. Don't lie about what I said. Use my full words. Put the whole clip out. I've already done that on my social media. And, Mark, I'm not one to plug, but everybody go to @Byron Donalds on X.
Let's link to that. Hold on, Byron, just a second. Let's link to that. Let's get it on all the platforms now. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because that's okay, because you can see exactly what I said and what I was talking about. Mark, we were in Philadelphia reaching out to black voters in Philadelphia ahead of the presidential election, trying to build those relationships, which I believe are critical, not just for black voters in our country, but for all voters in our country who typically don't vote Republican. And so what came up in the conversation was, what about the black family? And so everybody was talking about what happened in their families, and I talked about mine. I grew up in a single-parent household, and so what I talked about was how important it is with the reformation of black families in America today, and that is in part why you're starting to see more black people lean conservatively and vote conservatively. And the only thing I did was I said, well, look, if you go back to during the Jim Crow era, black families were intact. And during that time period, you have more black people voting conservatively, because that is the fact. That is exactly what happened. But when the Great Society with Lyndon Johnson and all their programs came in part what it did is it destroyed the black family in America. That is a fact. So now today, I find that you have the Washington Post and Politico and I guess the DNC and the CBC and all the alphabet soups. They're all now saying how I embrace Jim Crow. That's the craziest thing I ever heard. And so all I'm saying is use my words. Don't lie. Don't gaslight. If you want to debate my words, let's debate them. But don't try to tell the American people something that is a falsehood, that is a lie. Mark, I'm not built like that. I came into politics, and I'll fight hard. We'll debate anything. But if you try to lie on me and lie about what I said, that's when the gloves come off. I'm not going to stand for it, and that's why I'm standing up to them.
Amen. Well, Byron, about how long ago was it, Rich? 6 months ago, I was called an anti-Semite. So you, a black man, support, they say, Jim Crow. Me, a Jewish man, I'm an anti-Semite. This is how sick these bastards are, no?
No, it's absolutely correct. They are sick because they don't have an argument. They don't have a point because their policies suck. Mark, you know it. I know it. America knows how terrible these Biden policies, these radical, which are really the Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren policies. These policies suck and they're terrible. Everybody knows it. And because you have black people in this country, specifically black men, leaning towards supporting Donald Trump in the 2024 election, now they're trying to twist anything that could be said to say that you support Jim Crow or you support racism. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's a lie. But I'm not going to go and explain what I said. All I'm going to tell them is use my words. Don't twist. Don't dissemble. Don't read into the context of what you think I said. Go look at what I said and report it fairly and appropriately.
I call them now Al Jazeera media. They supported Hamas, they support Iran, they hate Israel. They're really state-run media for the Democrats. That's what they are. You don't even have a fair shot at explaining your view, which is why Byron is saying, folks, go to the link, listen to what I said. And Byron, this is why the media are dying. If it wasn't for these multi-billionaires on the left, for the Washington Post and the New York Times and CNN, they'd all be going under because the American people don't believe in them. They don't read them. They don't watch them. CNN's no viewers. MSNBC, same thing. New York Times numbers are way down. Washington Post can't get people to read because people have had enough of this, right?
Absolutely. Look, we are in a time in America where we already know the media is against the conservative common sense mindset that America truly needs in order to thrive and to succeed. And so they're in the tank for the radical left. The radical left is destroying every institution in America. And I think I said it the other day after the verdict came out with President Trump, that crazy verdict in Lower Manhattan, is that I'm not going to be lectured by the radical left and Joe Biden. They're the ones who are destroying the pillars of our republic. They are the ones who are destroying democracy. If you have nothing to be afraid of, then let people's words stand for themselves. Let people speak freely without you trying to suppress their speech or limit their speech. But the left can't play that game because they understand that if people are freely allowed to express themselves and their thoughts are heard in full context, in full view, then they lose. They don't have an argument. They know how to lie, they know how to spread fear, and they know how to suppress you. And that's what the battle is in 2024, Mark. And that's why I'm so excited, that there are a lot of Americans who typically aren't Republicans are supporting President Trump, and they're supporting Republicans this November.
Don't you think it's interesting that the DNC, which is the party of slavery and segregation and Jim Crow, the party of Joe Biden, who was a racist segregationist early in his Senate career, embraced these senators who was supported by the Ku Klux Klan in the South. Don't you think it's a sickening irony that they're trying to paint you that way, a black man, and there you have Joe Biden, who has a real history, DNA and fingerprints all over it. Isn't that pretty pathetic?
No, it's sickening, especially considering, and you just said it, Mark, that Jim Crow, that was ushered in by the Democrat Party. That was not the Republican Party. The Democrat Party is the ones that push forward Jim Crow laws in the South to suppress black people in this country. That's their history. That's their party. I'm a conservative. That's never been our history. That is not our party. We're about the liberty of all people. We're about the expansion, the growth of all people. We want people to thrive and succeed, not be under despotism. That's always been the radical left because they know if you want to just talk about the issues without all of the gaslighting and the politics and the innuendo and the race baiting, when you get to the actual issues, you realize that their policies make no sense at all. And that's why people are beginning to reject them. So I guess it's my turn to be in the battlefield. But, Mark, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to be intimidated. These people aren't going to intimidate me. I know Merrick Garland said that yesterday, but he sounded so weak and he was dissembling in the Judiciary Committee. Me personally, I'm not going to be intimidated. I'm not backing down. I know what I said. I know what I didn't say. I stand on what I said. And if they want to twist my words, go ahead and twist them, but I'm going to tell the truth.
By the way, I know Byron Donalds. He's a friend of the family. He's a very good, decent man. Wonderful family. And by the way, he's big as hell. So I don't think I'd want to mess with him either. Now, Byron, what's going on with Matt Gaetz and you? Anything interesting there?
No, Matt and I are good, man. I think, Matt, he's working hard in Congress. I got to give Matt credit. I watched his questioning of Merrick Garland yesterday. I told him on the floor today when I saw him, he did a great job, dealing with Merrick Garland because he's just trying to spin everything. But Matt and I are fine. Look, we're right now, we're focused on President Trump, helping him come back to the White House because we got to get our country on track.
Mm-hmm. And if Biden is reelected, the country's in dire, dire straits. It's going to be very difficult to get our justice system back, to get our citizenry and our border back, to get our economy back. It is a grave threat to our country. I don't know how Israel is even going to survive it, to be perfectly honest with you. Even in Ukraine, we send all that money, and then he says, but you can't attack the Russians. Well, that's an endless war. That's an impossible war, and those people are dying for nothing if that's the case. He really is an arsonist who goes around and burns things down, isn't he?
It's 100% correct. Listen, 4 more years of Joe Biden, you're going to see more instability around the globe. You're going to see more conflicts around the globe because our adversaries will know there is no strength in America, specifically in the White House. Tony Blinken, this guy is the very worst Secretary of State.
Nuts.
I never thought I would ever say this in my life, but man, I kind of wish we had Neville Chamberlain. I really do, Mark, because at least there might be some sense. Tony Blinken is the absolute worst. The man is rooting for our enemies. He's a disaster. You have the people that are...
Can I just comment on that real fast?
Oh, go ahead.
Just so the screwy left doesn't script. What I take you to say is, Chamberlain was an appeaser. Tony Blinken's actually funding our enemy.
Yes, 100% correct. That is correct. Neville Chamberlain was an appeaser. Tony Blinken is back-channeling to the Iranians and to everybody else while he gives these phony speeches and these phony statements to CNN and to NBC.
Amen.
That's what's happened in America. And you have so many of these other agency hacks who are going way outside the bounds of the law that Congress has passed at various points in American history. And then to top it all off, you have a president who has defied the Supreme Court, who has weaponized agencies against the American people, who has watched his Department of Justice, who has salivated his Department of Justice to hurry up and bring charges against his political rival. This stuff is crazy. It is nuts. Our country cannot survive another 4 years, another 4 minutes of Joe Biden. He must be defeated.
If people want to help you, Byron, where do they go?
Just go to ByronDonalds.com. The links are up. I just appreciate, you and your support, Marcus. Appreciate everybody's support. Look, I will tell you, and I was just with one of my colleagues, Andy Ogles, here in Tennessee, and I was just with him. And Andy Ogles, he has a tough race. If you can, please support Andy. Go to Andy's website. I don't have it committed to memory, and support Andy. But Andy Ogles, guys like that, they are people who go to Washington to do the right thing. They're not going up there just to get along with everybody, to make sure the press likes them, or to go to all the parties. Half the time, Mark, we're eating ham and cheese sandwiches or getting some takeout before we go to sleep. But we're in Washington to do the right thing. And when you do that, that's when the radical left comes at you. That's when the media comes at you. That's when they try to twist every little word. But it takes men and women of conviction who are going to look at the press, say, you're not going to intimidate me. They double down and they continue to move forward to do the right thing for this country.
I think it's very simple. They accuse you, a black man, a patriot, of embracing Jim Crow, and the man who actually embraced Jim Crow. They're backing him and funding him and promoting him for president of the United States. You're right. We don't need to take their crap. The hell with it. Byron Donalds, we're all for you 100%. Keep up the great work, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Mark.
All right. Be well.